try to love me.
Hello everyone and welcome to this video. Now today I am hopefully going to be starting like a new thread like here like in like the VC, which I will like invite like others like to like respond to like and like participate in. Basically like I had like an idea like where like I was like thinking like of like bands or artists where like a particular like 3 consecutive albums like released like could be considered like their peak period, and like they would never like quite like reach like that same like level like of quality like again like these 3 like albums, like this group of albums that kind of like defines like the band. So hopefully like you understand like when like I start like going through them, like I've got about like 5 examples like here like which like I go through, like I mean like it's not like the opposite of this would be someone say like Tom Petty, like for instance, like where he has had like a lot of like great albums but like spread amongst like his whole career. Like he's had like Damn the Torpedoes like in like the early 70s, but then like Filled with Fever like in like the 80s, like Wildflowers like in like the 90s. So like it's kind of like it's kind of like a mixed like time period for him. Like I'm sort of like talking like about bands here like where like they released like a run of albums like consecutively which could be considered like their best work. So yes, I've got 5 examples here, like of course like as I said that this hopefully being like the start like of like a new thread, like would be like interested to know like other people's like examples like for this. Like I've got 5 here for you. One of the first ones which like I thought of like when like I thought of like this idea was ELO. In like the mid 70s, like they released like these 3 albums which very much like defines the band. Starting off with Face of Music in 1975. Next album after that was A New World Record, and then the following year came Out of the Blue here. So these 3 albums like I mean like released like 1 year like after like another. Like Jeff Lynne was really just like on fire like when like he was like writing like these 3 albums. They really contain like the band's like classic songs, like classic songwriting material. It could possibly be extended to like a streak of 4 for like ELO, like including the Discovery album like as well. Like whether like I think like these 3 like it's just like when like the band were like at like their absolute peak like writing like some brilliant songs like spread like across like these albums here, like plus a double album like as well, you have to remember. So yeah, some brilliant albums here like from ELO like in like the mid 70s. Another obvious one which I sort of like first thought of was The Who. Like in 1969 they put out Tommy, followed that up with Who's Next, and and then in 1973 they released Quadrophenia here. So like again like 3 like consecutive albums like again like are like widely considered like to be like the band's like best work. Like I've like not met someone like who like doesn't think that like one of these 3 albums like is like the Who's like best work. Like I mean because certainly like after this like they did go like downhill, like they never like got back like to like this like level of quality, like and also like the stuff before like it was very much like development like as like a band. So yeah, really like starting that with Tommy, like they made like these 3 like excellent albums which I really like struggle like to be beaten for me. An artist now who like maybe like a lot of people like wouldn't like initially think of because he has had like a very like long like career like in like music like of course like, and like he has like had like a lot of like different like bands like he's been in and that. Like I'm talking though about Paul Weller and like his solo career. Like I think that these 3 albums, like his first 3 albums like which just show like really like defining him. Like I mean like I know like his like most recent stuff like is brilliant like as well, like Saturn's Pattern, A Kind Revolution, still making great albums. Like whether like I think like these first 3 are like just like really special, like they have like stood like the test of time. First one is his debut from 1992. So many classic songs like on here, little bit more sort of like jazz like orientated, like lots of like horns and that, but still just a lot of really fun, really upbeat like songs like on here. Followed that up 1993 with Wildwood, which is a little bit more sort of like stripped down, like back to the roots. Like there's only sort of like 3 musicians like on here. Like it's back like just to like a basic band like atmosphere. Like and like again like another great album. Lots of fantastic songs here. And then like it's sort of like all like culminated like in 1995 Stanley Road, which was his most successful record which like he's ever put out, like including like the jam stuff. So yeah, like again, like an awesome album here, like lots of different styles. So yeah, like I think like Paul Weller's first run of like 3 solo records, like they really like kind of like defined him like as like a solo artist, and like certainly like as and like certainly like has like allowed him like to go on to make some brilliant music like ever since. Like he had like a bit off like a dip for me like in like the early 2000s, however like he has like picked it up again, like as I said, like with Saturn's Pattern, Kind Revolution, Sonic Kicks, like those like more recent albums. Another example of this would be Elvis Costello, like in like the late 70s, which is when like I think like it was like his peak. Like he like released like these 3 albums, starting with My Aim Is True, his debut from 1977. Followed that up a year later with this year's Model. Again, another brilliant album. This time, like with like his band, The Attractions, and like they are just excellent on this album. And then like a year later, like after that, 1979, he puts out Armed Forces, which is a lot of classic songs like Oliver's Army, like Accidents Will Happen, What's So Funny About Peace, Love, and Understanding. So yeah, just a great artist. Like for like his early career, for me personally, like I do like lose interest a little bit like in him, like as like we go in like towards like sort of like the mid 80s, and that like by like the 1990s, like I have like lost interest. Like he was getting like a little bit more like inconsistent like as like the years went on. But like yeah, certainly a fantastic streak of albums there, like in like the late 70s for Elvis Costello. So now the final one which I will talk about today will be Pink Floyd. Like again, like they made like some brilliant albums like in like the mid 70s. Like there's sort of like there could be like a few like different like combinations like for this. Like these are like the 3 which I have gone with. Starting off in 1973 with Dark Side of the Moon. Of course, like just like listening like again to this album, like going to work today, just like blew me like away like how like good it is. Just an excellent album here. 2 years after that, they put out Wish You Were Here, which is equally good. Like again, like another stunning album. Like we've got Shine On You Crazy Diamond, the title song, Have a Cigar. So yeah, another cracking record. And then like after that, like they changed the sound like a bit, like sort of like taking on like the punk like attitude like a bit, like with the like with the album Animals here, which is again just another great album. Like again, like a great sort of like concept to it, like all like the band playing like really well. Like we get classic songs like Dog, Sheep, like Pigs on the Wing. So yeah, amazing stuff here. Some people like might like extend this like to like The Wall. However for me like I've explained it before, I think that it's quite an overrated album personally. And like also like the stuff like after that like generally like doesn't get like as much like acclaim like as like this mid 70s stuff here. Like and also like the stuff before it like as well, like Atom Heart Mother, like Omagama, like again like it was band development, like trying to sort of find out like what worked, what didn't. So yes, that's become to the end of this video. Like as I said, like I can think of like a few more like examples, like however like I will like leave it out there like this topic like in like the VC for like others like to hopefully like respond to. So yeah, so if you have enjoyed, and I will see you all next time for the next video. Goodbye.